introduce yourself, and particularly as we celebrate the Peace Day hosted by Yumbe District. We are looking at the aspect of the Uganda National Rescue Front 2, the peace deal in 2002. What was the biggest role you played in this peace deal?
I'm called Dr. Alonso Burhan. Now I work with the Kabale University. I'm a lecturer in Kabale University. My role in the peace process, when I joined the UNRF2, I came at the time when they had just signed the peace. And I was working with after the dissolution of the UNRF2, there came, according to the peace, what was called the UNRF2 Ex-Combatants Liaison Committee, a committee that was put to oversee the peace agreement housed in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So my role with this committee, I served as their security and logistics officer, and at the same time, as aide de camp to General Bamuza, I think for 14 years, when I worked with that team. That my role was their security, their logistic arrangements, and at the same time working as the aide de camp, or what you commonly call ADC, or you could call a PA in the civilian language to the general. But in the military it is called ADC, aide de camp. Yeah.
Could you briefly recount some of the key players in this peace deal?
Yeah, key players in this peace deal included, let me just go to the members who really signed the agreement. Let me start with them. May their souls rest in peace. Government was represented by Brigadier, Right Honorable Brigadier Iria Katagaya, who signed. The technical head was Engineer Kagoda, the PS Minister of Internal Affairs by then. Those were from the side of the government. And then late General Bamuza himself, representing the UNRF2, together with the Secretary General of the movement of UNRF2, that was late Light Colonel Amis Akwaku. So these were the people. Though there was the Aropic group that composed mostly the officers and the men and some politicians from West Nile. This group was led by late Colonel Izaruku, deputized by Major General Hussein Ada. This was the another part. Then there is the group of the elders who participated. This included the General Idris Mustafa, the former vice president, now late also, with a couple of some elders. Also included here from the side of the UNRF2, the legal guidance was given by Counsel Caleb Alaka. I think he's still there. He would be of interest to you also. He was the lawyer. He was the counsel that was seconded to this group. And then the chairperson of this group is Muse Pascal Pewang. He is still there. And unfortunately, very old, is based in Kampala. Now, they had a political commissar, Major Chikule. Maybe when you get opportunity to arrive in Yumbe, you will meet him. He is there. Others are now late. Late Nakuta. Those are now, majority of them are now late, but these are the surviving. And then you have Asedri Antes, who was the vice to General when they were right from Rojo, that is in Juba, as they were coming. So those are some of the notable people I could remember. It is long now.
If you look at the peace deal, would you say over the years the West Nile people, especially who participated in the National Rescue Front 2, have benefited from the peace deal, and how has this contributed to the economic growth of the region?
I always say when the guns went silent. When the guns went silent on the 24th December 2002, You can imagine the 24th of December 2002, people in Yumbe Area Katagai is in Yumbe, not thinking of Christmas. Engineer Kagode is in Yumbe. People are not thinking about Christmas. And that time you could see, this time West Nile has changed. The West Nile of that time, all these big people are in Yumbe, not even thinking, Area Katagai could not even think of Itojo. His home place, going to Itojo to celebrate, but he's in Yumbe. How many kilometers are these? This is over 700 or 800 kilometers from Itojo to Yumbe. He is there signing the agreement. So for me, I said, when the guns went silent, the real development of West Nile starts. The real development of West Nile starts. One, people who start, there were these early uprisings, how congested this city was. People started now leaving, going back home to engage in other productive activities. That's when the guns went silent. When the guns went silent, more districts were created and headquarters, the time of war you could not. First of all, the government officials were targets. They were got into confusion. Either they will say you are with the rebels or you are with the government. Any side you are still in trouble. So government infrastructure at the grassroots was avoided. So people had to go home, districts were given, sub-counties are created, service is taken, and people are peacefully living and working and delivering. But when the guns were sounding, they would not. You wouldn't deploy somebody from, by then it was, I think, Arua district, you couldn't deploy somebody from here to go to Kerwa. Kerwa is the farthest sub-county that borders with the Sudan from Yumbe side. You wouldn't go and serve there because of those chaos. So other activities now rolled. The universities have come. People are engaged in one or two things. The businesses are there. There is now even an opportunity to open the roads. These are direct. People even went to school now. These are direct effects on the West Nile people. The secondary effects on the country in terms of draining resources to fight the war had to stop. Are you see? Had to stop. Now today we are talking about Koboko Laropi Road. That is what you call Koboko Yumbe Moyo Road. We are talking about it. Those days, most of the operations were in Romogi, sub-county. Would you have opportunity to construct the road there? No, it wouldn't have happened. The technical school in Lokopio, as you leave Yumbe district, as you are going to Moyo, these were battle grounds. The army boarding school, which was as a result of the peace, enrolling over 1,500 pupils run by the UPDF. These are all the dividends. These are all the dividends we are seeing. So for me, I think when the guns went silent, development now came in. So to me, they really, in my personal perspective, really, the peace really has paved the way for the development of West Nile.
What is the personal benefit that you got because of this deal?
Oh, the personal benefits I got, yeah, there are many. My home district the guns went silent in my home district, that is Yumbe, that's my real home district. The guns went silent, development started, the district is growing, I have benefited from that. But on the personal, when I was working with them, generally in his wisdom and the ex-combatants liaison committee officer, late Mahamudu Angoliga, one time he asked me, said, what level did you stop with the education? I said, I stopped at the diploma level. He said, okay, government has given us scholarships here. State House has given scholarships here. They are part of the agreement. They were 10. He said, okay, would you want to go back to school? I said, why not? I dropped out of the school because I couldn't have the opportunity to go for further studies. You know, those days, universities was something that lives in an utopia world for some of us. You wouldn't really think of it. You wouldn't think of it because of the economic situation. So, not me alone, they gave us scholarships. I went to Kampala International University. That was 2003. I graduated in 2006 with the first class degree in human resources management. Then later I went for my MBA HR. I completed in 2008. Then later graduated with my PhD in Management Sciences in 2011 November, which has now put me at least somewhere. You see, it has put me somewhere. Very many are now benefiting from that, especially in the region. One time I was working in Bushenyi. I worked in Bushenyi for about 8 years as a registrar for KIU Teaching Hospital. And very many of the West Nile boys came to study medicine because they are their own brother there. Those are the multiplicative effects of the peace agreement. That's what I could say.
Do you recount some of the wishes of the late General Ali Bamuza, and do you think these have been fulfilled as it was expected of his wishes?
Yeah, may his soul rest in peace. Late General Bamuza, the 14 years I worked as his PA, one thing I for so much remember and I used to discuss with the General so much is the development of our people. That was one. He was a development-oriented person. I one time asked him, I said, General, you had the backing of Sudan. Why did you decide to come to Uganda to sign the peace? He said, we are fighting for a cause. If the cause is addressed, why should I remain in Sudan? If the government accepts to solve the cause, why should I remain in Sudan? And on his, when we are burying him, President Museveni, I still remember vividly what he said after I presented on behalf of the UNRF2. President Museveni said, he told the general, this Uganda is big enough for me and you, my brother. Come home, we build the Uganda. So one, late general would be happy if he was alive to drive from Koboko to Yumbe on a tarmac road. That was one of the things he really... Two, he liked education. That's why the army boarding school is there. He would visit it. He liked it. He was never political. He didn't like politics. He was never political. He liked education. That's why he talked about the army boarding school, which is now existing, the nursing school, which we are yet to discuss, which the discussions have already started, which is supposed to be put in Yumbe, and so on. I think, and also bringing this, I am very happy. I am still surviving to see this peace to conclusion. I am happy since 2008, when the activities of implementing the agreement ceased, and it is coming up, and I see the will is there. That is exactly what the general would want to see. Because every time we used to go through the documents with him and see when shall we bring this to conclusion so that he would be free. For me, my assignment with him was, all the discussions was, General, can we conclude this agreement so that you are free citizen? Because if it is not concluded, even his soul will not rest. You see? So I'm happy that it has come up, and I'm seeing the will from government to conclude it. So if it is concluded, even myself, I will be a free citizen. Because yesterday, I was in charge of everything in the agreement, the documents, the personnel, and what. And my people are asking, when are we concluding this? And people are going to, on the 12th, they are going to Yumbe. They are going to Yumbe to celebrate the Peace Day. I don't call it the Peace Day. It is the Accountability Day. The day I've been longing to see is, when are we giving the citizens in Yumbe, in the region, northern Uganda, and Uganda at large, the accountability of the document we signed yesterday on the 24th December 2002. That is what the general would want to see.
Things that you think in the peace agreement have not been implemented, and you will want to see them concluded.
Yeah, there are many. I've already worked on a document which I call the summary implementation of the peace agreement. In the peace agreement, there were 8 articles. Article 1, cessation of hostilities, was achieved. Article 2, demobilization, was achieved. Article 3, I think, dealt with the reintegration. In the reintegration aspect, there is something small which is remaining. One, about the UNRF officers joining a government. They joined, they are trained, they are now serving in UPDF. They are serving the nation in various capacities. I'm tracking some of them. Majority of them are now at a rank of senior officers, majors. They have reached that level. You know, there now it is individual merit. But as a group, they all joined as officers. That's one. Then two, the issue of the package. That's a small component remaining. That component which is remaining, one, is the fallen comrades, the soldiers who died in the bush. Their number is known, I think they're 107, something like that. Why they were not paid was at that time, the issues of letters of administration, those legal processes, were a bit difficult because there was no high court in West Nile. There was only high court in Gulu. So the movement of this next of kin, this documentation became difficult for them to do it. That's one. Two, the 135 child soldiers. These soldiers were taken by UNICEF to be taken to school. UNICEF did not complete their work. Later, they were taken by Ministry of Defense and taken to schools. Because the defense also delayed a bit, the school chased them. But these children are grown up. So we have also put them there. They have not benefited. Then the Article 4, I think it talks about one of the articles now. The one which talks about the national development issues. The national development issues, I've seen them featuring in the what? They are featuring in the national development plans. All right? They are featuring the national development plans. It also led to the regional development that created. There was supposed to have been a conference. That conference was organized. It formed Mayang in 2006, which now we call WENDA, the Umbrella Development Forum for West Nile. On some of the issues, I see they are being implemented. At the regional level and in specific in the proceedings, what is missing is the nursing school. The nursing school, we have started engaging on it. It is the one which is missing. If I am to look at the peace agreement in general, I think about 80% of it has been implemented. Only that why people are saying the peace agreement has not been implemented, what? It's simple. What they have failed to understand is there were national issues, there were Yumbe-specific issues, there were combatant-related issues. They failed to differentiate this. But the technical people who participated will tell you the bigger issues are resolved. These were national issues. This was a movement for Uganda, not for Yumbe district alone. Muni University here was part of the issues advanced. The road they are constructing there is part of the issues advanced. The Ombachi satellite is one of the issues advanced. Are we not meeting some of these issues? We are meeting them. I see. So that's why we who got opportunity to be closer to this agreement say at least 80% was fulfilled.
How can the current generation, the youth, take advantage of the prevailing peace amidst the cries that there are no jobs and yet they have opportunities to be innovative?
You see, no jobs. Where are the jobs? Who gives the jobs? How do you get the jobs? There are a lot of questions to be asked there. How many are we that needs the jobs? The first thing is the peace. We have got the peace. So we need to work hard. Government will give you a district, a local government. How many cows do you need? There will be only one cow, one CDO, the sub-county. Those things are specific. But to me, the youth that is following us the lost generation that is following us, not the generation of my children. The generation of my children are at least. The generation that is following us needed to learn. Because my generation in West Nile learned it the hard way. 1982, I was a refugee in Sudan. Come back from Sudan, arrive in Uganda, again you see war. These uprisings coming, West Nile, Bank Front, Unrf, sujui what. But we kept our life very objective in a certain direction. That is direction of hard working, direction of liking school. You go to school in the afternoon, you go and dig. That was the life we are living. Today, things have become very soft. I think because of the peace, things have become very soft. The generation today like, number one, soft life. They don't want to struggle. All the services are here. We were chasing universities in Makerere. Today, Muni is here. In Yumbe, Lokopio is just something like 100 meters away from some homes. But you find a child is not picking interest to go and say these things of the technical are for others. So the mind, we need to begin thinking of the mind of the current youths. So what will they learn? We're just telling them issues of violence, move away from it, engage in productive activities. If you got opportunity and moved like me in West Nile here, you will find, I always say, our youths are very good statisticians. Not because they hold bachelors of science in statistics, but they count vehicles along the road. What type of vehicle is passing? You find everybody is staying along the road, they're wasting their time. So they needed to engage in these productive activities. The Skilling Uganda program is there. These industries, I see one in Germany. You see where people are trained. They needed to engage on those things. Because they didn't see how the guns were sounding. They grew up when the guns had already gone what? Silent. So, we needed to do something to do with the mindset change. They need to encourage them to go for this skills training. Then it's engage in productive activities. Take advantage of the government programs, the PDMs, the MEOGAs, and so on and so on are outside there for them.
Yeah, as we come to a conclusion of the interview, let's look at there were those individual people who participated in the Uganda National Rescue Front to fight, and we still hear a number of them demanding for the the compensations, or after returning their guns there were expectations, and also in the peace deal they were supposed to be resettled. What has finally been done about this? Have they all been settled as it was in the deal?
Yeah. The nominal role we submitted to government as the ex-combatants liaison committee, I think it was November 2003, had a strength of about 2,700. This is both combatants, the political wing, the support wing, with the different categories which I'm not going to go into now. These people were settled, though not complete. Amnesty Commission was in charge of this settlement. Amnesty Commission was in charge using DefCU Bank to pay these people. That is what we call the 4.2 billion package. Out of this 4.2 billion package, 200 million went to Aropic, the political wing that participated, the group of the political wing that participated during the talks. They were compensated, they were given their money. Most of the people were paid. The categories who were paid included the following. One, fallen comrades, I explained earlier the challenge we did. The letters of administration, those legal processes for the next of kins took long and it didn't come to conclusion. So Amnesty could not pay them. Two, the child soldiers 135, who were taken away by UNICEF. During the time of documentation by Amnesty Commission, they were not there. They were already taken away by UNICEF with the intention of taking them back to school. So this 135, they were not paid. Then there is a category who are like 222. This is the category who are also problems, either misspelling of names, when you are dealing with the banks. So those legal processes correct these names, our people, they interchange names anytime. These things of Alonzi Burhan and Burhan Alonzi are different people they don't know. For them, it is you, we are done. So some of these things caused some complications from the payment process, and it took long because some of them involved some legal processes. They were not paid. But however, later another category of people started emerging. One group was the prisoners, 152. These prisoners, what happened was, they came for an operation on behalf of the UNRF2. They surrendered to government. They got mixed up, so they were rounded up. All right? UNRF did not document them. He said, you are not a part of us. We send you for an operation, you surrendered. So you are not a part of us. In fact, one time I questioned the general about it. It included a major. I questioned the general. I said, I'm hearing a complaint like this. There is somebody called so and so. He's complaining. He said, if we were in the bush, I would have court-martialed him and sentenced him to death by firing squad. You said. And he really got like a general and tough on that. Another category of people who was in the bush, they arrived in Yumbe in Bidibili. During the peace talks, they said, now we have arrived, why are we wasting time? For us, we are now going home. Whether there are orders, there are no orders, we have gone. I tracked one from Bidibili in the camp where they settled to Kiriadongo. He said, I'm not even going to stay in Yumbe. He went to stay with the aunt in Kiriadongo. So when Amnesty Commission came to document, they want to present in the camp, they were not there. That type of category. So I would say, one category number one, the fallen comrades, properly documented. The child soldiers, properly documented. Then we have the prisoners. Best people talk about this as the give me chance. If you stayed here at that time, there was something called give me chance. Those people could have a very good say on that group. Then the deserters. Deserters not on the side of the government, but the deserters on the side of the UNRF2 before the integration. The ones who left the camp. So now, when the peace was signed, people now started going home, resettling. And now they said, money has now done what? Money has come. Go to DEFCU. Get your money, you will be paid. DEFCU even had to open a branch in Yumbe. Go to Yumbe DEFCU. Join the Bidibidi cooperative. Go and sign your money. Now this is the time people now come. We are also part of the. Didn't you see me there? But we are not now seeing you physically. Amnesty Commission is now seeing the blue certificate. They are paying you on the certificate. Now you don't have the certificate. That is now where you see some of these discontents are arising. But recently, we compiled the Honorable Minister for Honorable Minister of State for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Dr. Huda, and put a team there. Yesterday I was in Yumbe with those of General Bagonza. I see they are doing a lot of verification. Some documentation is going on so that these people can be settled, and the issue of UNRF2 is sorted once and for all. Then they can transit into a form of cooperatives and enter the community and participate in the economic development of the district and the nation.
In a nutshell, how do we sustain this peace? We still see a handful of people who don't understand the peace in Uganda. thinking when President Museveni is not in power, Uganda will go into another turmoil. How do we transition into another government, but also in a sustainable way have the peace stay?
Maybe this question you are asking is not for Dr. Alonso Bruhan, the one for UNRF 2. This is now for another Ugandan called Dr. Alonso Bruhan. If you're asking for my opinions, I will give my opinions, because the question is far away from the UNRF 2. But however you have asked it, really, to me, people talk about the transition. I'm a university don, and I have at least moved. People talk about the transition. Me as Alonzi, I don't see a problem. The constitution is there. Unless if we want to behave wild, the 1995 constitution is there. It has guided everything. I have never read in that constitution an article saying President Museveni will live for life. I have never read it. It is very, very clear. Unless if we say we are not going to defend the constitution. If we are going to defend the constitution, the way out of the fears of the people is very, very clear. You see that? The fear is very, very clear. Unless if we say we are not going to defend, we are going to put it aside, like we had put others in the past. I don't want to sound political here because I'm not supposed to participate in politics. But for me, in a nutshell, what I would say is the peace is good. The peace is good. Today, Yumbe district, 1 million people are living there simply because of the peace. You see? So for me, this country is now on the right track. I don't see myself running the way I ran in 1979 to Sudan on foot. I grew up here in the military police barracks here. When the Tanzanians were arriving, first thing we ran into Congo here, in Aru. Then from Aru 8 years, I find myself in Yumbe. In Yumbe again, ran on foot. When I was now in P2, on foot up to Sudan. I don't see that. I really don't see that. Unless if we are not going to respect our constitution, then people will run. And me, I will not run away. I will stay here. I've ever been a refugee. You can't be refugee squared or twice. You be refugee once in your life.
On 12th of April, we'll be heading to Yumbe. Yes. What do you remember about this peace day, especially based on the various, let's not now zero down on West Nile. The greater northern region, we had different fighters, but what do you remember about them coming, for such peace day, and what will this mean for them?
Oh, it is wonderful. When at times I sit to look at this peace document, I remember several times for the case, in the region here. In the region here, we had these movements. Our time mostly was now the LRA, because LRA is the one that happens to our region. Though Alice Lakwena was mostly in the east. In the east was Alice Lakwena, but on our side here is LRA. There is the West Nile Bank Front, and then there is the UNRF 2, and even there was the UNRF 1, whom President is now trying to reorganize that, and I'm happy the question of the UNRF 1 is going to be solved, because this thing of ex-combatants preoccupies the minds of West Nilers. West Nilers don't want to think away from it. Every time President Museveni is coming here, any government official is going to any district, ex-combatants will feature number one. So my prayer is this thing be put aside so that we begin seeing how our minds will open. But coming to your question, you remember the time the British in the Betty Bigombe went for talks in Gulu and things didn't work out. Now, this day is very important. If I can vividly remember, in 2003, the government was in the process of sending a delegation of UNRF 2 to Juba to go and talk to General Kone. Now you see, they are going to talk to General Kone to inform him of what they have gone through and how the reception was. But unfortunately, that didn't take place. So, to me, people from northern Uganda, our region was in turmoil for long. And that's why we are equal to poverty, poverty is equal to us. Can you imagine people in Buseni refusing PDM and saying at least for us we are there, you take this one to our brothers there? Simply because of peace. They engage in productive activities. So this day is very, very important for us to denounce violent activities, to open way for growth and economic development. Take in Noya now. In one of the studies they said Noya has the highest GDP in terms of districts in northern Uganda. You can see the activities taking place in Noya. See how busy the small factories in Igulu are because of Noya now. These areas of Kotigoma, you can see how those areas have become so busy. Amoru. Are you getting that? So to me, this day is very, very important. We want to go back so that in Owino they will say, this is the simsim from West Nile. This is the millet from West Nile. Where is our simsim in Owino? we even now import simsim. Where is the millet from Owino? At least if you go to Nakawa, you can see the millet from Bulu, Lango, at least it is coming. So to me, the day is a very, very important one. Two, the day is very, very important in my life. I'm here to see it, inshallah, if I will be alive up to 12th is, and I pray I will be present, is giving accountability to the people of Uganda. This has taken long. This has taken long, and I'm happy they told us in the meeting, President Museveni is coming as the chief guest for it. So that accountability is the same way it was signed in public, the same way we are giving back accountability. Maybe from there, one or two things people will learn from it.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we pray that that day finds you around. There could be accountability, the classified accountability, which might come that day.